Hello, my name's Gabriel and I have the call schizophrenia. Today I'm going to talk about what it's like to be inside of a mental hospital. If you enjoy this video at any point in time, make sure you hit the subscribe button so we can reach more people and spread mental health awareness. So in this video I'm going to talk about what it's like to be in a mental hospital, the kinds of people you meet, how the nurses treat people, and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. So we'll get into that. So in 2015, well, actually going back to 2012, before I ever hallucinated, I went to the hospital. I was 13 years old because I was having mood swings. So I went there for 2 weeks and then I was released. But my first psychosis happened in 2015. And it was very scary. This happened in 2015, and I shortly after I got put into the mental hospital, and I was there for 9.5 weeks, and it was a crazy experience because I was meeting all kinds of people. I made friends, and sometimes the nurses would pick on me, like they told my friend not to hang out with me because I'm a bad influence, but in reality I wasn't doing anything wrong. So that was one experience I had. But I also went back to the hospital in 2021 because I went through a psychosis in 2020. And then I recovered from it, but I was still having really crippling anxiety. So I went to the hospital in 2021, and I got back on my meds in 2020 before I went to the hospital, and I came out of psychosis. But yeah, I met great people in the hospital. If you cooperate, the nurses are pretty nice. The doctors can be nice. But sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable because you feel like your freedom is locked away from you. But I'm going to get into what you're allowed to do in the hospital and what you're not allowed to do. So for the most part, in Canada, when you get put in the hospital, if you're not at risk of like running off and fleeing, they'll let you go out for a cigarette a few times a day. And basically what I used to do in the hospital is I would read books. I love to read books because it's the one thing that no one can take away from you, and it's a good habit to get into. But yeah, I would read lots of books, and I met some great people in the hospital, and it helped pass time just walking down the corridors with my friends and watching TV sometimes and hanging out outside having a smoke. And yeah, but there's the other side of things where you're trying to sleep and you hear people yelling in the hallways and kicking off, and sometimes the nurses will have to pull a sedative drug into a syringe and stabilize the person who's freaking out so they don't harm themselves or others. And that always scared me. It never happened to me because I never really kicked off, but I've seen it happen. I've seen nurses grab that syringe, and it's actually kind of trippy to think about. But yeah, there's people yelling sometimes, and other times people are peaceful. I used to watch TV in there, and like I said, I would read lots of books. But there's usually there's 2 people per bedroom. Some rooms are private with like a bathroom inside the room, kind of like a hotel room. And some of the rooms have 2 beds in it, and you're gonna have a curtain around your bed. And then the other rooms are just single beds. So some people get lucky and get their own room. But yeah, as long as you get along with the people in there, you can pass time fairly easily. And I think reading books is a very important part of being in the hospital, because it's the one thing that nobody can take away from you. And if you get into the habit of reading and you enjoy reading, you'll have lots of entertainment to keep yourself going while you're in there. But I would just drink coffee all day and go out for smokes and then come in and read. And I was also allowed to listen to music. Something you're not allowed in the ward is cans of pop, because they can be used to make sharp objects. So that's one thing that you're not allowed in the ward. And some of the wards you get your own locker, and you get to put your smokes and stuff in the locker. And then some have security, and they hold on to your smokes. So you're not allowed to bring lighters or tobacco inside the ward. But you're allowed to go out to smoke. Most people are anyway. And yeah, that's so you're allowed to go out to smoke. You're allowed out a few times a day. You can drink coffee, you can read, you can watch TV. Some wards even have their own computer that you can use to like check social media. But in 2021, when I stayed at the hospital, I was in a completely different ward where I was allowed to have my phone and my laptop and be connected to internet while I was in my own bedroom, and I found that really cool. So if you go in voluntarily to these certain wards, some of them will allow you to have your laptop or phone inside your own room, but they lock it up at like 10 p.m., sometimes 11. They lock it all up, they lock it up in your room too. You have a drawer with a lock on it. But in 2021, when I was in the hospital, I was allowed to use my computer and my phone, which was pretty awesome. That helped me pass a lot of time. I still read when I was in the hospital in 2021, but I was allowed to use my computer, and I thought that was amazing. So those are just some of my experiences in the hospital. And like I said, I met lots of great people. Sometimes someone will come up to the ward and take patients down to the gym if your hospital has a gym, and you can work out, or you can play dodgeball or soccer or football. It all depends. Sometimes they take you into the community, which is pretty cool too. In 2021 and 2022, when I was in the hospital, there was this worker who would take us to the mall on Fridays, and we could go shopping and then bring the stuff we bought back to the ward. So that was pretty amazing. And yeah, it's not as bad as the movies. People make it seem like, well, when they see it in the movies, they see like old school versions of a mental hospital, and it's really not like that anymore. So my message to anybody out there who may be thinking about going to the hospital, I would recommend putting your health first, and everything will work out. I will see you in another video. I hope you enjoyed. Just once again, hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon. My name's Gabriel, and I have alcohol schizophrenia. Take care.